Hello. Today, we are going to explore a case that once shook Singapore, leaving many people stunned. An adorable 8-year-old girl mysteriously disappeared in Singapore. Immediately after the incident, thousands of people volunteered to join a large-scale search. But it led to no results. When the truth was revealed, some people condemned the cruelty of the perpetrator. Thousands attended the little girl's funeral, bringing her favorite candies as a final farewell. However, as the investigation progressed, tens of thousands of others began to support the perpetrator. So, what really happened? What is the truth? Let's travel back to 2004 to analyze this case step by step. Singapore, once known as one of the 4 Asian tigers, is considered one of the safest countries in the world. In 2018, Singapore topped the Global Law and Order report released by the US, contributing to a high level of happiness among Singaporeans. The country's flat terrain and proximity to the sea make beach strolling and mountain hiking popular recreational activities. Among the popular spots are Bukit Timah and Faber Mountain, Singapore's 2 tallest mountains, standing at 164 meters and 106 meters. Respectively, Mount Faber Park lies adjacent to Faber Mountain, with trails leading through vibrant flower gardens. However, hidden behind this picturesque setting lies the unsettling story of our case. The central figure in this story is a well-behaved 8-year-old girl named Hu Wang Na. Born on September 26, 1996, in a farming family in Fujian Province, China, her early life was not peaceful, as her father had already moved to Singapore for work before her birth and had another relationship there. After her parents divorced, Hu Wang Na lived with her mother, Hu Wang Zhu-ying. Not long after, her mother remarried, giving Hu Wang Na a stepfather and a soon-to-be half-sibling. In the early 2000s, Singapore relaxed its immigration policies to attract talented individuals, leading to an influx of foreign residents. In May 2003, Hu Wang Zhu-ying, hearing about Singapore's quality education system, despite her limited financial means, worked hard to bring her daughter to Singapore. At that time, Hu Wang Na, over 7 years old, was enrolled in the prestigious Kun Tai Primary School, which had relatively high tuition fees. In Singapore, Hu Wang Zhu-ying found a job managing a vegetable stall for someone else at the nearby Pasir Panjang Wholesale Center. The mother and daughter rented a small room above the stall, where Hu Wang Na would play or nap on a makeshift bed while her mother worked. The wholesale market was always bustling, with many people passing by daily, allowing Hu Wang Na to meet a variety of people. Her cheerful personality and sweet smile left a strong impression on everyone she encountered, earning her the affection of the market vendors. Although their life was tough, Hu Wang Na remained optimistic, often expressing her dream of becoming a doctor to provide a better life for her mother. On September 27, 2004, as Hu Wang Na celebrated her 8th birthday, her mother prepared to return to China for 2 weeks. Hu Wang Na understood that her mother was going back to care for her half-sister and accepted that she couldn't accompany her mother due to her school commitments. This wasn't unusual, as she had grown used to her mother's trips between Fujian and Singapore. Hu Wang Na often handled daily tasks herself, including eating, going to school, and even bathing at public facilities. This time, Hu Wang Zhu-ying left 100 Singapore dollars for Hu Wang Na and entrusted her to her roommate, Lee Shujum, who would keep an eye on her. On October 10, a Sunday afternoon, at around 1:30 p.m., Hu Wang Na told Lee Shujum she wanted to call her mother. Since Hu Wang Na was very independent, Lee Shujum felt assured and allowed her to make the call alone. Hu Wang Na dialed her mother's number and asked when she would return, mentioning she needed an English electronic dictionary and a new pair of sandals. Her mother told her to take good care of herself and promised to buy her the items when she returned. The call lasted 6 minutes, and Hu Wang Na reluctantly ended it. Her mother didn't realize that would be the last time she would hear her daughter's voice. By 2:30 p.m., Hu Wang Na hadn't returned, and Li Shujum grew worried, wondering why it was taking so long for her to make a call. She checked the payphone, the market, and the school but found no sign of her. Anxiety mounting, she asked others to help search for Huang Na. But even by 10 p.m., there was still no trace. At 10:20 p.m., they reported her missing to the police. Upon hearing the news, Huang Zhuying dropped everything and flew to Singapore. Upon receiving the report, the police immediately started investigating. Witnesses stated that on the day she disappeared, Huang Na was wearing a blue denim jacket, shorts, and had neatly trimmed hair. The market vendors described both Huang Zhuying and Huang Na as kind and friendly, ruling out the possibility of a personal grudge. Given her independence and familiarity with the area, they suspected foul play, focusing their investigation around the market. Not long after, a lead surfaced. A cafe worker named Ling, located near the market's food court, reported seeing Huang Na walking barefoot past her cafe on the day she disappeared. Curious, she asked why Huang Na wasn't wearing shoes, to which the girl politely smiled before running off. Additionally, several market vendors recalled seeing Huang Na that afternoon with a man. Coincidentally, this man was known to them all, a 20-something packaging worker who often played with Huang Na. The man's name was Zhuang Lianghao, nicknamed Ah Hao. Upon learning of her disappearance, Ah Hao appeared shocked. He admitted he had seen Huang Na that day, giving her 2 mangoes and urging her to go home. He seemed so genuinely surprised and honest that the police did not suspect him further, allowing him to leave after questioning. 2 days after the incident, Huang Tu-an returned to Singapore while the police were rigorously investigating. She printed numerous flyers and posted them all over the streets. She asked everyone she encountered if they had seen her daughter, thinking that her daughter might have fallen into the hands of bad people or was trapped somewhere. She did not rest for even a moment, searching tirelessly from early morning until late at night. She looked everywhere, from construction sites to drains. During this period, Huang Tu-an's niece had a dream in which she saw Huang Na being confined on a mountain. Immediately, Huang Tu-an rushed to search around Bukit Timah and Phippa Hill. The media soon caught wind of the story and interviewed Huang Tu-an, who held her daughter's favorite toy and a photo of her in her hands. Her face showed clear signs of exhaustion and helplessness. After the report aired, many people expressed sympathy for the sweet girl Huang Na and were moved by the sacred bond between mother and child. They all joined in the search effort. The entire Singaporean society seemed to come together to search for Huang Na, from retired business owners and taxi drivers to numerous other kind-hearted people. Everyone wanted to contribute in some way. A retired businessman, aged 60, offered a reward of 10 Singapore dollars for anyone who could provide useful information. Following this, Mr. Liu Tien Tuan, aged 48, added another 5 Singapore dollars. Many volunteers came to the scene of the incident to form search parties, while some company owners mobilized employees to distribute flyers to the public. The manager of a design company created a website dedicated to gathering information about the case. Singapore's largest taxi company also rallied all of its drivers to join the search effort. The search even extended to neighboring Malaysia, where taxi drivers also joined in. Some stores in the state of Johor hung posters searching for Huang Na as well. Despite the widespread news coverage and unprecedented scale of the search, with over 70,000 flyers distributed within just a few days, Huang Na seemed to have vanished from the world without leaving a single clue. In the midst of this intense search, a strange event occurred. Zhang Lianghao, Huang Na's friend whom we mentioned earlier, also suddenly disappeared. It turned out that as the police reviewed relationships, they summoned Zhang Lianghao to the station for further questioning. This time, he unexpectedly changed his story, claiming he knew where Huang Na was. He stated that Huang Na had been kidnapped by 3 or 4 men, alleging that the reason was due to a conflict between Huang Tu-an and some vendors at the market. and that the kidnapping was an act of revenge. He also claimed that he could contact the kidnappers to release Hoang Na. But the two phones he used for this were not with him. He needed to go home to retrieve them. Under police supervision, Zhang Lianghao was able to collect his phones from his home and workplace without issue. He was then brought back to the police station for a lie detector test. On the way, Zhang Lianghao suddenly claimed he was hungry. Since he was still cooperating with the investigation, the two officers, trusting him, allowed him to stop at a roadside eatery for a quick bite. While eating, he asked to use the restroom. And, trusting this seemingly honest man, the officers allowed him to go alone. Unexpectedly, in the blink of an eye, Zhang Lianghao disappeared. This action was practically an admission of guilt. Despite a swift pursuit by the police, he managed to escape. With no other options, the police issued a warrant for Zhang Lianghao. But he seemed to have vanished as well, leaving no trace behind. At this point, all that could be done was to thoroughly investigate Zhang Lianghao's background. Zhang Lianghao was born on December 16, 1981, in Pang, Malaysia. He is the second child in a family of 4 siblings. At the age of 18, Zhuo Lianghao came to Singapore alone with the desire to start a business. However, the ideal was full of pressure, but the reality was cruel. In the end, he only got a job as a packer at a distribution center. Later, he married a Chinese woman of Indonesian origin and had a son. When Hoang Tu An first came to Singapore, because they were colleagues, Zhuo Lianghao used to live with the mother and son. During that time, he and Hoang Na became quite close friends. Hoang Na often called him uncle, and Zhuo Lianghao sometimes took her for a ride on a motorbike to buy delicious food for her. Hoang Tu An trusted Zhuo Lianghao very much. Therefore, when the police listed Zhuo Lianghao and placed him under suspicion, Hoang Tu An was extremely surprised and could not believe it. So in the end, was it Zhuo Lianghao who did it? The Malaysian police contacted Zhuo Lianghao's family. Zhuo Lianghao's father, 52 years old, was selling goods at that time. Fast food at a coffee shop. He said his son called home to say he did not kidnap the girl, he ran away only because of pressure from the police. Zhuo Lianghao's brother also said that normally Zhuo Lianghao would not even dare to borrow money or fight. Kidnapping children is impossible. Zhuo Lianghao's wife said her husband called home to say he did not kidnap Hoang Na. He is currently hiding on the lake shore. Zhuo Lianghao's family also hopes he will turn himself in and clearly declare everything. On October 30th, after 10 days on the run, Zhuo Lianghao suddenly turned himself in at Pang, Malaysia. On the same day of receiving the report, Singapore police quickly brought Zhuo Lianghao back to the country. Zhuo Lianghao confessed that after escaping from the restaurant through the side door, he ran straight to the Goodland checkpoint tunnel. This is the main route connecting Singapore and Malaysia. Although he did not have his passport with him, but on his person Zhuo Lianghao had a police pass, so he was able to return safely Malaysia. Because of fear, so he did not dare to return home but escaped to another place with the help of friends. He contacted the Malaysian media. In the interview, he continuously expressed sympathy for Hoang Tu An and said, "I want to tell you that I also love Hoang Na very much because I also have a child. I hope everyone do not talk nonsense because the truth will be exposed." Then, under the advice of his father, Truk Luong Hao decided to surrender. He said that he was the culprit. 10 a.m. on October 31st, Truk Luong Hao led a team of 20 investigators to Mount Faber Park, not far from the wholesale market, only about 10 minutes drive. Truk Luong Hao pointed up the slope and said the girl was right here. After 30 minutes searching, the police discovered a foul smell coming from a withered bush. At the same time, a box sealed with tape was also found. The box was not large, the type of box commonly used for transporting goods at the wholesale market. The size is 50 centimeters long, 40 centimeters wide, 30 centimeters high. The outside of the box shows signs of moisture. Looking through the gap, you can see that inside is a plastic bag. The box was brought to the Body Identification Center. Inside, it was wrapped tightly with 9 layers of plastic bags. When opened, The body of a little girl was in a severe stage of decomposition, appearing before everyone's eyes, although the face was unrecognizable. But thanks to the black hair and slightly buck teeth, Hoang Tu-an still recognized that it was her daughter. DNA identification results. The body was later confirmed to be that of Hoang Na, who had been missing for 3 weeks. The autopsy report showed that the cause of death was acute suffocation, most likely due to being covered by a foreign object. The mouth and nose on the face near the mouth area had 5 wounds that could have been caused by someone else covering the face. In addition, on the right temple of the scalp, chin and lips, there were many bruises in the stomach and there were mangoes left. So why did Trak Luong Hao, the murderer of the case, act so cruelly towards such a lovely 8-year-old girl? The prosecutor prosecuted Trak Luong Hao for murder. First, let's listen to the suspect's testimony. Trak Luong Hao said that it was just an accident that day. After Hoang Na finished calling, I brought some mangoes and took her to the warehouse at the distribution center to play hide and seek in the game of blinding her hands and feet. Then, to increase the difficulty of the game, I blinded Hoang Na's hands and feet. Then I turned off the lights and left her alone in the dark so she could take off her blinds. Suddenly, I heard a loud noise, came from inside the room and hurriedly jumped up. Then saw Hoang Na lying on the floor bleeding and convulsing. It must have been because the little girl hit her head on the box next to her. At that time, I remembered a scene in the movie. If you use the back of your hand to hit the back of the neck, the person will immediately become unconscious and wake up after a while. So I used the back of my hand to hit Hoang Na 3 times in a row. Seeing that she still did not wake up, I kicked her a few more times. Seeing that Hoang Na seemed unable to survive, I tore off her clothes and used my hand to reach into her private area to create a fake rape scene. So no one will suspect me because I am a gentle person who has never broken the law or had any criminal record. The police found the storage room that Trak Luong Hao mentioned to the room on the 15th floor of the wholesale market, as large as 3 apartments. Often used to store vegetables and dried goods, the window curtains are often closed. Few people pay attention to this room. After searching, the investigators found hair and blood stains of Hoang Na, a cigarette with Trak Luong Hao's saliva, a piece of tape with Trak's fingerprints on Hao's back, and many fibers from the clothes of the 2 people. It seems that this is the first scene of the case. Next is the trial on October 11, 2005. The case of the murdered girl Hoang Na was brought to trial in the Supreme Court of Singapore. The prosecution prepared very carefully. They found 76 witnesses and a series of exhibits. At the same time, publicly released a 5-minute-long video recording again scene of Trak Luong Hao reenacting the crime on a mannequin after being arrested. Based on this evidence, the prosecution rejected Trak Luong Hao's testimony and presented their argument as follows. Afternoon of the incident at 1:40, Trak Luong Hao lured Hoang Na to the storage room, used rope to tie her hands and feet, then committed the act of assault. Then Trak Luong Hao used his hand to cover Hoang Na's mouth and nose until she was gasping for breath and unconscious. To ensure Hoang Na would never wake up, he tried to kick her, then stuffed Hoang Na into a plastic bag, wrapped in 9 layers, then stuffed into a sandbox the size of half of Hoang Na's body. Finally used tape to seal the box's mouth. At that time it was still dark. He deliberately waited until 5:30 p.m. to borrow a colleague's motorbike to go home and watch TV for a few hours. 8 p.m. At night he turned around to get a cardboard box tied to the back of his motorbike and drove straight to Mao Faber Park, throwing the box down the slope. 9 p.m. Zhuo Liang Hao returned the motorbike as usual. The matter was clear that the perpetrator had confessed. The trial would be very quick and simple. However, in reality, the trial was extremely complicated and difficult because the team of lawyers defending Zhuo Liang Hao was extremely capable. A famous lawyer from Singapore agreed to defend Zhuo Liang Hao. Lawyer Anon was born in India and witnessed many similar cases. Later, he went to Singapore to study and became a Singaporean citizen, becoming a lawyer after experiencing some ups and downs in life. He was determined to promote change in the Singaporean legal system. He was especially passionate about cases that seemed hopeless, including the Hoang Na case. This time, he pointed straight to the point. Although Zhuo Lianghao was involved in Hoang Na's death, the autopsy report could not confirm it. It is certain that Zhuo Lianghao was the one who directly caused the death of Hoang Na based on the autopsy results and the crime scene. Hoang Na's tongue showed signs of bruising. On the floor, there were urine stains, showing that before her death, Hoang Na had symptoms of vomiting and incontinence. The possibility of epilepsy or suffocation and vomiting cannot be ruled out. Furthermore, because the body was severely decomposed, it was impossible to determine whether there was semen from Zhuo Lianghao in Hoang Na's body. Therefore, it was impossible to confirm whether Zhuo Lianghao had committed the act of assault on Hoang Na. Another very important point is that Zhuo Lianghao had no motive for committing the crime. The two were previously very close friends who often played together. In addition to lawyer Anon, the defense also invited psychiatrist Newell Lennon. He affirmed that Zhuo Lianghao showed signs of not being sober when committing the crime. He did not show any sadness or remorse for Hoang Na's death, proving that he was schizophrenic and could not be held responsible for his actions. He said Zhuo Lianghao has all three symptoms of schizophrenia: severe mental disorder, dominant emotions, and paranoia. Primary, for example, the testimony of 3 or 4 men who kidnapped Hoang Na was due to paranoia. Moreover, through the test, Trak Luong Hao's IQ was only 76, which is a type of intellectual disability. Trak Luong Hao's family also spoke out in support of the claim that Trak Luong Hao had schizophrenia. They said that every time he returned home, he often laughed alone for no reason or screamed. Sometimes he even sneered alone. Lawyer Anand also added that the constant smile on Trak Luong Hao's face was the smile of a mentally ill person, which was clearly abnormal. The defense team even argued that Trak Luong Hao was not qualified to stand trial because of his illness. So in the trial, facing the sharp arguments of the defense, Dr. Jai, the prosecutor's psychiatrist, made rebuttals. The IQ of a normal person is between 90 and 110. Although Trak Luong Hao's IQ only 76, but still not at the level of normal intellectual disability IQ in the mid-70s, is considered mentally retarded. Moreover, through investigation, Zhuo Lianghao has no previous history of mental illness. Those who know him also said that his behavior before and after the incident did not change. The important thing is that Zhuo Lianghao's method of committing the crime was very strict. When handling Hoang Na's clothes, he did not throw them in the trash in District 15, but chose a place without surveillance cameras to throw them away. The body was wrapped in 9 layers of plastic bags. The way the knot was tied was also Anne's usual way of tying knots. Furthermore, Zhuo Lianghao also took advantage of the darkness to dispose of the body. The entire process of committing the crime was careful and strict, proving that he was completely sober and knew what he was doing. Even when he was questioned by the police for the first time, he remained calm. He spoke clearly without flinching. When he was questioned the second time, he even used the police's passport to escape to Malaysia. These things, even normal people might not be able to do. So Zhuo Lianghao has absolutely no problem regarding the motive for the crime. The boss and colleagues of Trak Luong Hao said that Trak Luong Hao had previously used a rope to strangle the girls because he felt that the girls were too noisy and annoying. Furthermore, he had also beaten Hoang Na when angry. So it is not impossible that Hoang Na was angry with Trak Luong Hao. In addition, at that time, Hoang Na was alone, so he killed her. The two lawyers had a very fierce debate in court until August 27, 2005. After many days of trial, the judge declared that Zhuo Lianghao was guilty of murder and sentenced him to death or hanging in January 2006. Zhuo Lianghao appealed to the higher court. 3 judges of the high court had different opinions. One of them said that the crime of intentional infliction of injury was more appropriate than the crime of murder. The death penalty was too severe. However, The remaining 2 judges did not agree. In the end, the appeal was rejected by a ratio of 2-1. However, even after arriving in this country, Zhuo Lianghao's fate was still a mystery, because the President of Singapore has the power to pardon the death penalty. Zhuo Lianghao's family launched a campaign calling on the public to sign and submit a petition to the President within just 4 months. They collected 35,000 signatures of support. Why so many people supported Zhuo Lianghao? We will discuss this issue later. Zhuo Lianghao's family submitted a petition for clemency to the President, Sarapan Ramana. If the petition is approved, Truc Luong Hao will be exempted from the death penalty and replaced with a life sentence. However, after 8 months of consideration, the President rejected the petition for a sentence reduction on November 3, 2006. Truc Luong Hao was executed at the Dong Di Hong prison at the age of 24. Hoang Na's funeral had more than 1,000 volunteers come to see him off, many of whom did not know Hoang Na. They brought candies, fresh flowers, and snacks, things that Hoang Na loved when she was alive. Hoang Na's coffin was covered with Hello Kitty stuffed animals that she loved the most. Around the coffin were also Hello Kitty stickers. The funeral procession passed through the market, amusement park, and school that Hoang Na loved when she was alive. While sending Hoang Na off, many honest people donated money to help her family. Today's video ends here and see you again in the next videos. Hello.